Hey everybody, welcome to a little update. I already did a nice video review of the Star Wars A New Hope Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber. More accurately, that's what it's called, although to distinguish it from the as first built by, a lot of people, to make the distinction, will call this the weathered edition. And so I already did a review of that, but at the time I had mentioned that I didn't have the certificate of authenticity. Well, I'm putting a little update because I did manage to source one. It cost a pretty penny, a bit more than I was willing to actually pay. A bit ridiculous, actually, when you think about it, what you're paying for just a piece of paper. But I did upgrade in a fashion that I think will make it worthwhile. So here you have, of course, the lightsaber, as beautiful as ever. And you saw this plaque, 643 out of 2500. We're going to set it aside, and we're going to upgrade it to an artist proof. This was still in its original plastic, and it's not really taped to the stand at all, unlike this. So if you look at the two side by side, you can see that they're essentially identical. But yeah, plaque here, a little bit of metallic. I never actually even seen an artist proof at all for this version. Never seen it on the Facebook page, never seen it anywhere really. So that's a pretty amazing thing. And one of the interesting things about master replicas is that at least for artist proofs, there's nothing on the hilt that distinguishes it as an artist proof. Unlike the signature editions where you actually have it engraved on the lightsaber, so even though it's identical in every respect to the limited edition, you can tell that you have a signature edition lightsaber. And it also, for better or for worse, prevents you from mixing and matching pieces of broken sets. You can't, for instance, take a limited edition hilt and then pair it with a signature edition plaque, for instance. But in reality, I'm pretty sure that when they made these, it's all made at the same factory. It's all basically the same, other than the engraving. But there's no artist proof, for instance, on here. So if you have an artist proof plaque, you've essentially just turned your set into an artist proof set. So here you go. We've gone from one to the other. So I'm going to be displaying it right over here. So that's very nice. We now have an artist proof Obi-Wan Kenobi weathered edition, which again, I've never really ever seen one of these. So there you have it, for better or for worse. And then, of course, we did source the actual certificate of authenticity. So I'd like to take this opportunity to actually check it out. So again, you can see that this is one of the old versions. This is what the plaque came in. And this actually comes with a little bit of that rice paper to protect the certificate. Put that aside. So again, you can see that this is one of the older style paperwork. And I've talked about how much I love this here, where again you have the gold seal and the signatures of the president of Lucas Licensing and the CEO of Master Replicas. I really wish that they kept this for every single version of it. Very, very classy. The thing that kind of sucks about this one, though, is that it's not specific to the Obi-Wan lightsaber. So you can tell as you read it that is sort of like a generic CoA. You can notice it says official prop replica. It doesn't mention Obi-Wan. And again, they're very careful not to, mention anything that would essentially make it unique to the hilt. And this is in contrast to some of the signature editions where they specifically mention signature edition. They put, for instance, the thermal detonator from Leia's thermal detonator signature edition. They actually have it on the certificate of authenticity. So this is a bit more generic, which is a bit more disappointing. (2003). But here it is. This is a Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber, Episode 4: A New Hope. So notice that they don't say it's weathered. They don't bother to make that distinction, because as far as they're concerned, this is the definitive version of that lightsaber, accurate to the movie. The as first built by was more of almost I don't want to call it a joke, but it was almost more like a one-off, something unique, maybe created for fun or something, like a variant. And of course, that's now one of the most valuable hilts because of its rarity. But let's go up here and take a look, read it together. They do mention that weathered version in the description, however. Based on the original filming prop of A New Hope. So here they talk about all the different things that go into the prop. And in my original review, I had also talked about this in some detail. So let's see, how accurate I am, or how accurate Master Replicas, is in terms of the description. The pommel or rear of the lightsaber was made from a European faucet handle. So that's the same as what I said. I gave it a little bit more detail, obviously. While the silver band in the center was taken from an antique flash gun similar to the ones used to create Luke's lightsaber for the first two films. It's not only similar, it's actually identical, the Graflex. The two control switches on the right side of this band are actually 1970 transistors, so I think I mentioned that as well. The finned grip, which is right over here, in front of the band from a World War II grenade. Oh, I'm sorry, so it's not the back one, it's the grip over here. So we mentioned that as well. The rear grip and front emitter have to be positively identified. So when Master Replicas created this, they didn't really know everything yet, but we, of course, have the advantage of time, and we've one-upped Master Replicas actually. In our review, we do know actually where the rear grip and front emitters come from, but they appear to be some type of gear and gas burner head respectively, which is technically incorrect. We now know that they came from a jet engine, believe it or not. The prop makers for A New Hope asked to combine these disparate parts into one coherent design. Over the years, it's become one of the most beloved and best remembered lightsaber designs in the Star Wars saga. This particular lightsaber is one of the more challenging pieces for Master Replicas to produce. We hope you agree that the result you see before you is the definitive replica of this prop. So there you have it. This is now a complete artist proof set. Here we go. I kept a little envelope. And I'm going to put this in here. In its beige envelope, which is standard for these older pieces. I'm going to actually adjust the camera a little bit. So there you go. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this plaque. Now that I have the artist proof plaque, obviously this becomes, a little bit superfluous. Maybe I'll put this up for sale. There are a lot of broken sets. 2,500 of the Obi-Wans were made, but again, there are quite a bit of broken sets, and there were a few that were being sold without the plaque. So this might go for a reasonable amount, a pretty penny, so to speak. We'll put that aside. And so here we have it. pretty pleased. Getting a certificate of authenticity for one of these broken sets is really long shot. And so I'm actually pretty happy that I was able to do it. You do have to sacrifice a bit because this is not the sort of thing that most collectors are going to want to do, breaking up their sets. But we managed to do it, and I managed to source an artist-proof plaque at the same time, so I'm pretty happy about that. So I don't do these very often because most of the time when I buy a Master Replicas hilt, I do try to buy it at least with the plaque and the paperwork. I don't care too much about the brown shipper or the packaging, but for me, usually, the paperwork and the plaques are kind of like deal breakers, but in this case, I did make an exception. And honestly, I didn't really think I was ever going to be able to get a certificate of authenticity. I was actually prepared to maybe buy another complete version later on down the line and then just sell this one. But the opportunity came along to not only get the certificate, but also the artist-proof plaque, and I decided to jump on it. So again, this is not a full review. You can check that out earlier in my channel, but this is a quick little update just to kind of show that I did actually manage to complete this set. This is the original display case for the Obi-Wan, and I've gone on record before to say I'm not a big fan of this, so I may have this thing remade so it looks a little bit better. This is just too small, too low profile. A lot of little dings and nicks on the wood, and the acrylic and mirror base are actually polished, to a decent degree, so it's not too bad. But I'll think about maybe having this completely replicated depending on my mood. So there you go. Star Wars New Hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi Weathered Edition, artist proof now, and with this certificate of authenticity. Until next time, do take care.